Hello guys, it's 𝗏𝗏, welcome back. We have a full moon in Aries, conjunct Chiron, coming on 17th of October, which is closing up this eclipse season. The tarot card for this full moon is the Four of Wands, which is about completion. Now, this is a mighty full moon, and it's tough, intense, and uncomfortable. And it feels like that because Pluto, who just went direct in Capricorn, squares the moon, but so does Mars, who is the ruler of this moon, North Node, and Chiron, and who is in emotional Cancer. Pluto represents the deepest desires of our soul, and Mars is the lower octave of Pluto, which explains the way we act to fulfill these desires. These squares that you see here are charged energy which seeks solutions. And Mars in Cancer is somehow holding it all, and it can be too much emotionally for many of us. I would just cry now looking at this Mars in Cancer and probably give him a hug. God. Now, before I continue, I just want to mention this date, October 10th, which was the heaviest day energetically when the moon in Capricorn made an opposition with Mars in Cancer. And then she conjoined Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn on the 11th of October. So the moon in opposition to Mars on that day marked the beginning of the opposition between Pluto and Mars, which will be built up and reach its peak on the 3rd of November. We will have a new moon in Scorpio on the 1st of November, where this opposition is just incredible, since both Pluto and Mars will be on their last degrees of the signs, 29th degree, the degree of mastering, but extremes too. So this is a big transformative energy, and this degree also belongs to the ether, so this opposition will be playing out in multiple realms. So, Pluto is on his way to leave Capricorn, and he will enter Aquarius on November 20th. And in this melancholic release in which we begin to feel that something is finishing, that is really happening, that it's time to take off these heavy suits, shoes, and layers of this old imposed bullshit that blisters so unbearably, which no longer serves humanity, which we do not want anymore, which exhausted the feminine, distorted the masculine, which feasted, robbed, cheated, took lives, locked half of humanity, still trying to do the same, and pretended as if no one saw anything. Yes, the justice was and is violated, and the scales of the cosmic law, which is beyond the black book's law, went out of balance. Guys, Pluto gives power wherever it's placed, and he gave power to Capricorn, and in the last 20 years, he gave power to this: government, structures, business matters in general, employers, and authority figures, a desire for the status and chasing the status, politics, politicians, responsibilities, and patriarchy too. Now things are about to change with Pluto leaving Capricorn and entering Aquarius. We are on the threshold collectively, transformation is happening, and it can already be felt. Pluto is a giant, slow-moving planet, so the change is happening slowly, but surely and deeply. Plutonian transformations are tectonic and intense. Do you know the song Pluto from Björk? Well, that's our song now. I will post the song down below in the description. Check it out. We can see how the technology already blooms, and I know we cannot avoid artificial intelligence and these freaking robots or whatever this thing is. And I don't know about you guys, but I certainly wouldn't like to wake up in the morning with this thing asking me to meditate together. Anyhow, let's talk a bit more about Pluto in Aquarius and what's around the corner. Imagine the weirdest jobs, styles, different communities, cooperation between them, new genders, innovations, and a general feeling that the different and weird is actually accepted. Well, something like that awaits us. We will see science blooming and astrology too. Yes, we will probably go in space more and more often, and we will want to explore, experiment, and deconstruct. Aquarius at its best is an innovator, genius, humanitarian, working for the benefits of humanity. It's also a powerful mind, telepathy, a brilliant mind, and in its worst, this hypocrisy. Now, a bunch of other things are coming with Pluto in Aquarius for sure, and we cannot even imagine them all. We don't even know how it really feels because we have never experienced Pluto in Aquarius in our lifetimes. And we might be able to tap just a little bit into this for now. Okay, so Venus, the ruler of the South Node, the Sun and Black Moon Lilith in Libra, where the last solar eclipse occurred, is on her last degree of Scorpio and in opposition with Uranus. Venus here is at the critical point. She wants to evolve in relationships, and we should take some risks and we should be open to some sort of reform. It's time to experiment, try new things, and think outside the box. Our personal values and truth, the way we think about relationships, change during her journey through the Scorpio. Venus in Scorpio is all the time on the journey of self-knowing. Now, the full moon in Aries, conjunct Chiron, is clear and loud and speaks about courage. It's time to stand up, protect, be direct, confront bullshit if needed, express ourselves, and trust our instincts. Aries is young, it's masculine, it initiates, it's the daredevil, it's ruled by Mars, it's the primal fire, the root chakra, it's the archetype of the warrior, and it's our instinctual nature. It's also noisy, loud, and messy, and it's the most beautiful red color to me. And it's the baby of the zodiac. And this instinctual nature of Aries carries so much wisdom. Instinct, guys, is the integral part of one's wholeness. The individuation requires integrating instinctual drives with the conscious self. Instincts are vital forces that should not be repressed. The suppression of our instinctive nature and our relationship to our instinctive nature is perhaps the most tragic casualty of having suffered from the mother wound. If our mother was not herself close to her somatic sensations, the flourishing and processing of her emotions, if our emotions scared her, then our little psyche learned to separate itself from our instincts. It's not that our mother wanted to cause us harm, but she had not been taught how to be with her instinctive nature. Many women have been taught to associate their instinctual wild side with danger, chaos, or irrationality. This fear often arises from the cultural stereotype that strong, intuitive, or emotionally expressive women are uncontrollable or irrational. The Wild Woman Archetype represents a break from this, urging women to reclaim their natural instincts and emotional depth. That belief also hinders our individuation, because the fear of one's own wildness can lead to self-sabotage. Women may hesitate to take risks, pursue creative projects, assert boundaries, or fully express their sexuality, and this suppression cuts them off from their life force and limits their ability to live authentically. So, making spontaneous decisions, expressing our deep emotions, creating art, doing rituals, dancing, or nature-based practices can also help reconnect with the wild, freeing instincts that have been suppressed. Reconnecting to our instincts is perhaps the most important work we can do with this full moon conjunct Chiron. Aries full moon is shedding a light on where we are wounded and what needs healing. And Aries is the cardinal fire and a warrior archetype. And it has no problem to cross the sword with those who threaten to that which is my own life, my path, space, personal freedom, my choices, independence, the way I express myself, my voice, autonomy, and individuality. And everything is fine with that. We don't live in a world that is all flowers and rainbows. We live in a world that is a struggle for survival too, with all these conditionings and system. We live in a Pluto in a Capricorn system, for God's sake. Look around. Rent a flat. Look at the bills, the price of the food, our forests, these conditionings, people fighting to survive. There is no place for the feminine to bloom in this madness. So please, can you stop presenting Aries as a selfish, senselessly aggressive nature? Because I'm sure that there are many reasons for anger too. Let's try to live while allowing everyone to treat us the way they want. Let's try to live while waiting for someone to always do something for us. I don't think so. Now, Pluto squaring the full moon and in opposition to Mars is so profoundly important for us to understand, because this aspect is challenging the structure of our ego, the moon, and it's here for a reason. It's like right on time, a strike to the ego structure for the sake of growth. For many of us, spiritual development is or was hampered by parental conditioning, or by certain conditional demands of family members, or their absolute lack of understanding of our evolutionary path. Guys, if we are emotionally manipulated into fulfilling other people's wishes or expectations, instead of following our own path and instincts, we will then develop a fear of being ourselves and follow our instincts later in our lives. This can come from childhood, in which parents might be the ones who are emotionally manipulative and subtly withholded love from us and showed love and affection only when we would respect their wishes. Or it can also be that the love was demanded of us because they didn't have it themselves. And that's how we learned as kids to please others, because we might have become conditioned to believe that expressing our needs or paying attention to our personal instincts may lead to the loss of love or support from others. These are the reasons why we later on develop a fear of expressing ourselves and being spontaneous and natural in our relationships. So this is challenge now. The moon is illuminating our wounds, and Chiron is here to bring healing. And no matter how uncomfortable these squares might feel, there is a chance for evolutionary growth and healing. Now, what is Jupiter doing here? Jupiter retrograde in Gemini brings some rethinking about our personal truth and in which direction we want to continue to expand, and we should allow these changes. This is an interest in diversity of things. To me, this Jupiter in Gemini feels a little bit like a renaissance. We want to explore everything, we want to expand in everything, and we're like some kind of curious foxes now. Mercury, the ruler of Jupiter in Gemini, entered Scorpio. And Mercury is here an intuitive thinker, a deep thinker, a detective who penetrates into the essence of things, bringing out the issues, and there is a chance now for us to communicate some really complex things. We have a need to talk about limitations, taboos, and issues. I love Mercury in Scorpio. Guys, I could talk for hours about every degree, aspect, sign, date, and so on, but I don't want to. And to be honest, I always gravitate between the need to talk too much about something or completely shut up and do visual astrology because I love it. I love symbolism, images, art, music, and this is for me really my favorite way to communicate. And when it comes to music, I'm obsessed with it. It has always been a big part of my life, but I'm not doing it, and I'm inviting you for a collaboration. So guys, if you're doing music and you want to collaborate with me, contact me. I'm here. I would like to collaborate creatively with new people. Okay, now it's time to slowly close things up. Mars in Cancer, as the ruler of this full moon, in all its aspects, colors this full moon. We truly seek emotional safety and nurturing. We are vulnerable, reactive, and messy, and that's all okay. It's okay to be messy, guys. But somehow, it really feels like this full moon is the maturing of Aries, which is our North Node, evolutionary direction. And with all the mess and challenges we might feel at the moment, this uncomfortable energy pushes us forward and asks us to follow our own instincts, from which everything truly creative springs. And yes, people pleasing is over, guys. Become unacceptable. For now, wishing you courage and breakthroughs, warriors. Cheers.